Going for two, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
Good morning and welcome to the Going for Two live Sunday morning show start sit edition. My name is Topher Kurt and I'm wearing glasses this morning and my ring light is bouncing right off of it. So that is super cool. I am here alone this morning because Jamie, as he has said in our group chat, is off going to watch Shedeur Sanders lose in person. Look at this, Jared, starting us off right off the bat. Love it. Luther Burden or Jaden Higgins PPR. Well, let me pull people up and take a look. He said, I'm a dumbass for using the armchair intro to look. Yeah, I watched most of the video and I was like, oh yeah, I know this intro. Didn't realize at the very end it said armchair. I watched like half of it. So let's get to the more important thing, though, not Jamie standing out in the cold waiting for Shedeur to ruin his hopes and dreams, just like every other Browns quarterback that has ever lived besides Derek Anderson in 2003. I think, okay, looking at this, Luther Burden, Jaden Higgins. I need to pull up my defense rankings. Not rankings, but statistics. And, okay. And good morning to you, handsome. Okay. Let's see. So we're going to start off with Jared here. Burden or Higgins. Luther Burden over the past 4 weeks has gotten 44 to 51% snap share, which is much higher than they've had. He's had all season. His target shares increased and his receptions have increased over the past 4 weeks. Jaden Higgins is on the field more by about 10%, and gets a lot more targets and receptions. But Rome Odunze is out this week. Now my question is, how are the Packers secondary against the wide receiver position? They give up the 13th fewest fantasy points. Besides, since they placed Shamar Chase in week 6, they've only given up one game of 74 yards. 75, actually, since Shamar Chase, they've only given up one game of 75 yards or more. That was to Jameson Williams last week, who had 144 yards and a touchdown. They have, since Chase Brown had 10 receptions for 94 yards and a tutty in week 6, they've given up 5 receiving touchdowns. So I think that there is a possibility, especially with Caleb Williams slinging it, I think that there's a possibility that Luther Burden scores. We now want to look at how the Kansas City Chiefs defense is operating against the wide receiver position. And in just the last 3 weeks, the Kansas City Chiefs have given up 80-plus yards to 4 receivers. That's a stark difference from the first half of the season where their highest receiving total they allowed was 80 yards to Brian Thomas Jr. from weeks 1 through 9. But weeks 11 through 13, they've seen some bigger holes. And they've given up yards to CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, but then also Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin. So it's not just Dallas. It's other people as well. And they've given up 2 touchdowns during that time. They've only given up 8. didn't scroll up all the way. 8 wide receiver touchdowns the whole time. Jaden Higgins right now is on his path of essentially scoring every other week. Anytime that he catches the ball, he is scoring every other week since week 4. So this would be an on week for him to score. I'm gonna go Luther Burden. I don't like that for myself, being a Packers fan. Plus, they're playing the Packers, but I think Luther's going to be the piece that they need in order to win. Okay, another question from him. Also, Neil, Vidal, or Michael Carter. Ooh, okay. Let's look at this. Let me pull up my Fantasy Pros listing. Okay, so that's the wrong Fantasy Pros. Sorry, y'all. I want not my ranking, but I want the other, everybody else's ranking. Why is this so hard to find? Okay, so it's because I'm being dumb. Okay, Vidal, Neil, or Michael Carter. Okay, Neil is playing Tampa Bay. Kind of like that matchup against the running back position for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has not been great, if I think correctly. They've given up the 11th most fantasy points. Now, Neil has not been anything crazy right now. Vidal, I'm not going to start him because Hampton's back. And he just had a really good week. He's a back and forth kind of guy all season. And so Vidal is not somebody that I'm going to start. I'm going Hampton. I think that they're going to play him more than what we think. Between Vidal and Hampton. Let's look at Michael Carter. Okay, Michael Carter, he's got a receiving upside because the last 6 games he's had at least a 35% target share, snap share in. He has had multiple targets in each of those games. He's had 5 receptions in 6 out of his 8, in 6 of those games right there. He's averaging roughly 30 yards a game. He has scored 1 touchdown this season, and it was on the ground against Tennessee. Against the Rams, I'm not thinking he gets a touchdown. Devin Neal has not scored a touchdown, but he is getting some receiving work, and he saw his highest snap percentage against Miami last week. I am going Devin Neal. I think he has his highest upside there. Alec Pierce or DJ Moore. He also said fuck Iowa. Well, that's because he's in Nebraska. Ask him how that game went. Ask him how that Iowa versus Nebraska football game went. Yes, exactly. Alec Pierce or DJ Moore. Easy for me. Alec Pierce. I'm an Alec Pierce guy through and through. Yes, Roma Dunze is out. But DJ Moore has been so inconsistent, and I don't love it for fantasy purposes. He has had 1, 2, 3, 4 games above 46 yards this season, and he's had 3 touchdowns this season. 2 of them were in 1 game. He's only had 5 receptions twice this season. Now you might be like, hey, Topher, Alec Pierce only has 5 or more receptions in 2 games this year as well. You're absolutely right. Alec Pierce only has 2 touchdowns this year. Absolutely right. But he has had let's look real quick. It doesn't tell me, so I have to do math real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the 10 games he's played this season, he has had 46, because that was the limit that we had for DJ Moore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. 9 times out of the 9 out of 11 games, he has had over 46 yards. That's an easy thing for me. He's also caught 2 out of his 2 out of 3 touchdowns in the last 2 out of 3. Sorry, both of his touchdowns in the past 2 out of 3 weeks. They played Jacksonville. They're going downhill, and they need some big plays from Alec Pierce to sustain things. He's getting a 25-yard plus reception every single week. I'm not even kidding you. He is just consistently with that. I'm going Alec Pierce because he's going to consistently give you the higher upside. I think DJ Moore has a chance to explode, but it's a very small chance. I'm going to Alec Moore. Alec Pierce. Wow. Alec Pierce. Good morning. Pick 2 for my guillotine flex. Ugh. I got kicked out of my guillotine last week. It was well deserved. I was hanging on by a thread for like 5 weeks. Devontae Adams, Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, and Justin Jefferson. I hate to say this because I respect his talent and everything he's doing. Let me see. Is this really going to make a difference? I still have a glare. Gross. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm wearing glasses this morning because I wanted to be lazy and my eyes just look weird. Because of the ring light. Or glares in general. Devontae Adams, that's an easy one. Devontae Adams, he has had so many touchdowns lately. Since week 7, he has had 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2 touchdowns in those games. That is 11 touchdowns in 6 games. You can't sit that. You cannot sit that, especially against an Arizona Cardinals defense that I am not overly impressed with. I mean, nobody is. They give up the 12th quote unquote fewest they give up the 12th fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver position. And since their bye week in week 9, they've given up 75 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4 times since then. They've also had 2 games that were 74 and 71 yards, and they've given up 4 touchdowns in those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So Devontae Adams, easy for me. Justin Jefferson, nope, I can't trust him. Nobody can, and that's not his fault because he's an elite talent. But he has eclipsed 50 yards once in the past 5 weeks. Once. He's only had 5 receptions twice in the past 5 weeks. He's only had 6 targets each of the past 2 games. He had 4 yards last week. That is suffering. That is hard. That's not what any of us want to see. Derrick Henry, he's been doing really well lately. He played his lowest percentage of snaps last week against Cincinnati, which didn't make any sense, but he has scored touchdowns in the last 3 games, including 2 against the Jets. They play Pittsburgh. This is a get-right game for the Ravens. And let's see. How are the Pittsburgh Steelers against the running game? According to Yahoo Sports, gives up the 8th fewest fantasy points to the running back. I say that, but they've also, since week 7, they've given up a 100-yard game to Chase Brown. They've given up a 95-yard game to Kamani Vidal, 99-yard game to Chase Brown, 144 yards to James Cook just last week. So since week 10, they've given up 95, 99, 48, and then James Cook and Ray Davis combined for 206 yards against their running defense. Derrick Henry all the way, because Walker does a very good job. He's clearly an NFL running back, duh. But he's limited in getting to the end zone because of Zach Charbonnet. That's my thought. So I'm going Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, not even a question. But I wanted to make sure I did my routine, my stats check for you. Thank you, Ryan, for writing in. Chad, I'd assume go Vidal this week, even though Hampton is off IR. I did mention this earlier. I would go Hampton. He was looking like he could be ready to go last week, and then they didn't get him off IR. And I think that's because they wanted to wait for him to be fully ready. They didn't want to do that, let's start him off slow. Okay? Yeah. Just answered my question. Yes, I did, Chad. I can read your mind. Hampton, Carter, or Vidal? Need this for a first-round bye? Yes, you do in our league. If I'm you, this is easy. I'm going Hampton, Chad. I really am, and I'm not saying that as somebody that can't get the first-round bye anymore. Meaning I won the belt from 6th place last year in the tournament, so I'm not concerned. But if you want that first-round bye, Carter is not going to go through that Rams defense very well. He's not finding the end zone. Kamani Vidal is up and down. And yes, will he still be a part of the running game? Yeah, but will he be the lead of that running game? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going Hampton, unless if we hear something different. I think Hampton's the starter with Kamani Vidal sprinkled in from here on out. What's Jaden Reed going to do today? That is a great question. I'm not starting Jaden Reed because I think he gets more of a stat count than Hampton does, because I think Green Bay has more options at the wide receiver position, and they don't have to depend on someone else, because behind Vidal, there's nobody. They've got to keep in mind that Vidal's got to be healthy, because they've lost Haskins, they've lost Najee Harris, they've lost multiple people, running backs on this team besides Hampton. Vidal is keeping them afloat in a really good way, but they've got to allow Hampton to take that running back field over and keep Vidal healthy. Jaden Reed, I think he gets to play maybe 40% of the snaps this week. I think he gets 2 receptions, maybe 3, doesn't score a touchdown, 40-ish yards. I would hope more. He could come back and have an amazing game. I think Christian Watson is that guy. Packers are hitting 80% of the goal line throws. Love spreads it around, but Dobbs is the only one with multiple targets inside the 10, and Watson's top scoring option since returning. Who scores? Christian Watson is my number 1 touchdown scorer for the Packers this week, even over Josh Jacobs. They have not been giving Josh Jacobs as much as they could have, because in the last 2 games he's played, he has not scored a touchdown, while he had only missed touchdowns, a game with a touchdown once throughout this season before that. So, and in one of those games, he did go out early against the Giants. But last week against Detroit, they didn't. He didn't score. I think he should score again this week, but I can't guarantee anything with that. My top scorer this week, Christian Watson for the Green Bay Packers, and then Romeo Doubs, and then Jaden Reed would be my order for wide receivers. Rainbow face looks very sexy. Thank you. I appreciate you hitting on me, Jamie. I do have a husband, and you're not my type, but I appreciate it. Chad, thumbs up. Hey, good luck to you, buddy. I don't remember who you're playing. Let me look real quick. But I'm kind of rooting for you to underdog it, because nobody came into the season really rooting for you. Not rooting for you. I mean, we don't root for each other. Let's be real. It's an intense fantasy league. But you're playing Tyler. Actually, I am far more scared of Tyler than I am of you. And more than likely, who does? I mean, just depending on how it breaks down. But I would much rather face Tyler in the playoffs than you. So, I'd rather face you than Tyler in the playoffs. So please go and start Michael Carter. Keep these questions coming, people. Thank you so much for writing in. I know I'm by myself today, but Jamie is spitting stats out here. Dolphins score 63% of goal line throw, but only 30% of carries. Jets have allowed 80% of the passing touchdowns in the 5. Who scores between Waddle, Achane, and Waller? Waller is the answer right there. Looking at Achane right here, Achane's receiving work he hasn't scored a receiving touchdown since week 8, so he's definitely due for it. He did not catch a single ball last week. He had 1 target last week, didn't catch a single ball. Very much an anomaly, because since week 5 before that, his lowest target number was 5. He's had at least 5 targets, and he had, since week 5, he's only had 1 game besides last week with 3 or less receptions, which is very good for a running back. Achane is due for it. I think Darren Waller is his to-go guy in that area, because he's played 4 games this season, and he scored 4 touchdowns in those 4 games. The only game he hasn't really scored in was last week. He did play week 7 for 28% of the snaps and then got hurt. Waddle has not been. He's had, since week 6, he's had 2 receiving touchdowns. His receptions have not been great the past 2 weeks. He's had 3 receptions for 52 yards and 3 receptions for 40 yards over the past 2 weeks. Before that, he was hitting 99, 82, 84 yards and 2 touchdowns in 3 of those weeks. I would be concerned. I also think that he kind of likes, am I wrong? Malik Washington. Let's see. So I'm looking right here. Malik Washington only scores in a game if Jalen Waddle also scores in that game. I don't think that's a trend by any means because Malik has only had 2 touchdowns. But my order for a receiving touchdown would go Waller, Achane, Waddle, Washington on that. But I think Devon Achane scores a rushing touchdown. Absolutely. Let's see. I did get a text. Okay, Devon Vele or Adonai Mitchell, full PPR. Okay, I know that people are going to love both of them right now because they both had monster games. And are we going to see that happen again? Let's see, Vele. So last week, Devon Vele went 8 for 8 on 93 yards and a tutty. Last week, Adonai Mitchell had 12 targets for 8 receptions, 102 yards, and a tutty. Let's look at how these defenses play. So the Jets are playing Miami right now. Also, I'm having all the sirens go off in my town today. So that's fun. Dolphins have been pretty stingy since week 7. But they have also, something you do need to look at, since week 7, they played Cleveland, Atlanta without Drake London. They played Baltimore, and I think this was just when Lamar was getting back. Before you quote me on that, I am going to look because Lamar has not looked like himself this season. Yeah, so this was the first week that Lamar was back. During that time, and then they played the Buffalo Bills and then the Washington Commanders without Terry McLaurin. And Deebo Samuel is the only one that had above 70 yards since week 7 through 11. Now, week 13 last week, Vele and Olave both had a touchdown, Vele with 93 yards. But Miami gives up the ninth fewest fantasy points on the season. Then let's look at Vele, and they play, remind myself, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, and we've already talked about what Tampa Bay does against the run earlier fantasy-wise, so let's look at wide receiver-wise. Tampa Bay gives up the 11th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Since their bye week in week 9, they've given up 1, 2, 3, 4 games of 70 yards or more. They've given up 5 touchdowns in that time as well. They also have given up 2 games of 60-plus yards. So if you take it from 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games of 60-plus yards in 6 wide receivers with 60-plus yards since week 10. So just in 4 weeks. I don't know who to trust. Let's be real. That is really tough. Again, got a text asking Vele or Adonai Mitchell. If I had to choose between those two, I'm going Adonai because Adonai is kind of the wide receiver 1 there. Like they're, Vele has Olave against him. So I'm texting my buddy Mitchell because he is the wide receiver 1 on that team, and they'll need to chuck it downfield a lot. Okay, boom. Okay, Let's look. Trey Tucker or David Njoku. Ooh. Oh, gross. I don't like this either way. Let's see. Let's look at. Here we go. Trey Tucker versus Njoku. Okay, Trey Tucker. Since week 7, he has had one game above 40 yards. He's had one touchdown. He's had one game with 5 or more receptions. Since their bye in week 8, he has had his highest game was 4 receptions, 47 yards. He also has had 2 of those games with 8 and 10 targets. There's just, besides Brock Bowers, Geno Smith isn't doing much of anything. That's where I'm at. David Njoku is even worse, though. Oh, since week 8. He has had 2 touchdowns scored, but wow, I did not realize. Yes, he's been a bum, but didn't realize this much of a bum. Since he was out in week 7 against Miami, his snap share has gone from weeks 1 through 5. His lowest snap percentage was 76 and his highest was 96. And now, since week 8, when he came back, his highest is 68%. His lowest is 49%. He has had 2 targets in 3 out of those 5 games or less, because one of the games he didn't even get targeted. He has had, since their bye in week 9, he scored a touchdown, but he has only had 32 receiving yards in 4 weeks on 5 receptions with 1 touchdown. The week before his bye, he had 4 receptions, 37 yards, and a touchdown. He has literally had 11 yards for 3 receptions in the past 3 weeks. Trey Tucker. Okay. And Jamie says, never mind, I already locked into the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. Locked into 22 out of 29 playoffs. Look at you go. That is awesome. Just so then everybody knows, Jamie does play a lot of leagues against himself, where he drafts all 12 teams, so then he can say that he won no matter what. So I think 17 of those leagues he's created for himself. McNichols or Michael Carter? Ooh. Let's see. Jeremy. Or Jeremy McNichols or Michael Carter. Ooh. This is, you know what? When you say good luck on this one, you mean it. Trey Benson is not back this week. He was expected to be back this week, just like the week before and maybe the week before. I think they're just messing around with us. I don't think that they bring him back this season, probably. What's the point? What's the point of possibly getting him re-injured when you know you're not going anywhere in life? Michael Carter has had higher snap percentages over the past few weeks. And he's getting a lot more in the receiving game. Over the past 3 weeks, Jerry McNichols has had 5 receptions for 20 yards. Michael Carter last week alone had 5 receptions for 47 yards. Their rushing stats are very equitable over the past 4 weeks. Michael Carter, that's an easy choice. His tutties for this week: Judkins, Bucky, Higgins, Chase Brown, Mowing Guy, Waller, Charbonnet, Kelsey, Mahomes +3, Stafford +3, Devonta Adams. I think Devonta Adams, you lose money at this point betting on a Devonta Adams touchdown, because it's just gonna happen. Good. Let's see. Yeah. Go back to lobby. Okay. Let me look at some of the things that I have picked this week. So some of the things I picked were Alec Pierce, 25.5, longest reception, over than the higher on that, the over on that. Let's see. Bucky Irving above 16.5 receiving yards. James Cook above 2.5 receptions. Tajay Spears above 2.5 receptions. If you've not seen what Tajay Spears has done every single week, I'm getting money on those 2.5 receptions. Because since week 6, he has literally had at least 3 receptions. 7 straight weeks of 3 receptions. Yes, they play Cleveland this week. Yes, he's not running the ball very well. The last 3 weeks, he has had 4 3-and-2 snaps for a total of 6 yards. He literally came out of last week's game against Jacksonville with 2 carries for -1 yard. However, over the past 3 weeks, he has had 5, 4, and 6 receptions for 31, 21, and 25 yards. They're using him pretty much exclusively as a receiving back now. Tajay Spears, you bet that 2.5 receptions over every week. Neal or Zonovan Knight. Okay, let's see. Zonovan, bam. Ooh, okay. So the last few weeks, actually the last 3 weeks, Zonovan has scored, Bam Knight has scored every single game. And him and Michael Carter are both catching the ball out of the backfield pretty equitably. Knight has, over the past 3 weeks, 4, 4, and 3 receptions, so 11. Michael Carter has 5, 3, 5, so 13 out of that time. Carter does have some more yardage on the receiving front, but is definitely beating him on the rushing front. Now, I don't like either of them playing the Rams defense. That Rams are, they used to be F them picks and, struggled for a couple years, not as good as we wanted them to be, but they're the best team in the NFC right now. Like to me, that's not even a question, even as a Packers fan who is going to take over the NFC North this week with a win against Chicago. So the Rams have literally given up 4 touchdowns to the running back all season, 2 receiving, 2 rushing. They've given it to CMC, Brian Robinson, Kenneth Walker, Chuba Hubbard. I mean, they have stopped the following people: Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, CMC the second time that they played, Zach Charbonnet, Sean Tucker when he was leading that backfield, Rico Dowdle. They've stopped them all from getting a touchdown. I don't think Zonovan Knight gets one. While playing I alluded to it earlier, New Orleans is playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They've given up the 11th most fantasy points to the running back, and they have given up 3 receiving touchdowns in the past 3 weeks to the running back position, including they've given up, since they're buying week 9, they've given up 66, 61, 36, and 47 receiving yards to the running back position in 3 weeks. In weeks 11, 12, and 13. There's no reason that Devin Neal can't do better than that. I'm going, especially in PPR. Let me double check Devin Neal's receiving before I go off on this, because I think his receiving's lower. Okay, so he has had 11 receptions over the past 3 weeks that he has played. Same thing as Bam Knight. He's had 1 game of 9 yards, but then 43 and 22. He's set to lead that New Orleans backfield, while Carter and Knight are splitting against one of the toughest defenses in the league. That is easy for me. Neal. Tillman or Addison? Gross. Let's see. I mean, Cedric Tillman, since he came back in week 10 after their bye, he's had 6 receptions for 68 yards. 6 receptions for 68 yards in 4 games. He's had a total of 12 targets in that time. Over the past 4 weeks, Jordan Addison, while he hasn't been able to do much of it, he has had 29. Yes, 29 targets in the past 4 weeks, 10 receptions with a touchdown, and had 91 receiving yards. He did have one game against the Packers where he didn't catch anything. And same thing with Cedric Tillman against San Fran last week. So they each have one game that they didn't do anything in. Jordan Addison is going to continue to be hindered by poor QB play. Cedric Tillman, yes, they play the Tennessee Titans. That's not a formidable defense by any means. But they're not a formidable offense. Let's see. Tennessee Titans have given up the 8th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. But I'm looking through here. If you're not a big name receiver, you're not getting big name yards. You're not getting big yards. You're just not. I'm looking at that. Then if we look at Addison, who is playing Washington. I want to say Washington is one of the best matchups for wide receivers. Yep, 5th most fantasy points. They give up the 5th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Even with the bad QB play, I'm going Addison. Great show today. Thank you, J-Man. I appreciate you being here, even though your friend Jamie is skipping, because that's who he is as a person. Friendly reminder, the lowly Browns beat the Packers this year 13-10. You absolutely did. Like, there's nothing that I could have done about it. Did I yell at the TV? Yes. Was I in a crappy mood the rest of the day? Absolutely. Ask my husband. But I can't control that. Also, that's one of the joys of being in the NFL is any given Sunday. It happens all the time. We watch any given Sunday. If you look at the Packers schedule, any given Sunday happens for their losses and for their wins. It's all over the league. Look at how crazy the NFC is right now, how close and combative it is. There's going to be a team that has a very large or very good winning record that doesn't make the playoffs because the Rams, why can't I think of it? The Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers, along with the Packers, Bears, and Lions, can't all make the playoffs. Only 5 of those teams can at a maximum. That's what it's looking like. One of those divisions will have 3 teams in the playoffs. One of those teams is going to be left out in the cold with probably 11 wins. So any given Sunday, I do want to remind you, yes, the lowly Browns did win, but I do want to remind you that the lowly Browns, I'm pulling your schedule up real quick on my phone because 2 can play this pissing contest. Let's see. They've beaten Miami and Las Vegas as their other 2 games. They did lose to who? The New York Jets. They did lose to them. They got stomped by the Pittsburgh Steelers 23-9. Ugh, that's not good. They did lose to Baltimore 41-17. Ugh. And they lost to Detroit 34-10. They lost to the Vikings. The Vikings 21-17. I mean, we can also talk about how many times each team has made the playoffs. We can talk about a multitude of things when it comes to Packers versus Browns. We can. Yeah, one game doesn't define everything. I'm sitting next to J-Man going to the Browns game. Hey, there we go. That's fun. I hope you two have a blast. Jaden Reed or Judy drops. I don't think you can just trust Jerry Judy. I don't think you can. No. You cannot. He had a really good game with Dylan Gabriel at the helm. 1. And then from there, last 3 weeks, he's had 7 receptions for 86 yards. I think that Jaden Reed can outdo 3 receptions for 21 yards or 1 reception for 39 yards or 3 receptions for 26 yards this week. I think that he can. I'm saying 2 receptions, maybe 3 for 45 yards. That's where I'm going with Jaden Reed for this week. Maybe a run for 7. That's about it. But I'm still no. I am not trusting Jerry Jeudy over Jaden Reed. No, not at all. Hey, we've had a steady stream of questions. Partially thank you to Jamie for that. Cade Otton or Rondé Gadsden? Woo, this is an interesting one because Gadsden is a big name. Let's be real, because he has had some incredible weeks. However, the past 3 weeks he has played, he has had 3, 2, and 1 receptions. Yes, his receptions have literally gone down in number like that, and his targets have gone from 6 to 5 to 2. Over the past 3 weeks, he has had, let's see, that is 81 yards. So he's had 6 receptions for 81 yards. That sounds very close to what Jerry Jeudy was doing over the past 3 weeks. Let's talk about Cade Otton. Over the past 3 weeks, he has had 2, 4, and 2 receptions, so 8 of them. However, his yardage is not as nice as we want it to be because it is only 58 yards. 8 receptions, 58 yards. 6 receptions for, what did I say, 81 yards. Neither of them are people that you are excited to play. It's a bad matchup. But let's look. New Orleans gives up the 16th fewest fantasy points to the tight end. So they are literally league average on this. However, I'm looking right here. Since all season, they've given up 1, 2, 3 games with 50 or more yards to the tight end. And those tight ends were Trey McBride, Daniel Bellinger, and Terrence Ferguson. Those are not big names. They have put a kibosh on people like Kyle Pitts and Colson Loveland and Hunter Henry and Theo Johnson and Dalton Kincaid. They, though, were giving up some touchdowns at the beginning of the season. They did give up 4 receiving touchdowns to the tight end in the first 5 weeks. Since week 6, though, they've given up 1 tight end touchdown, and that was to Tyler Higbee. I don't love that. But we're going to look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't think it's going to be even nicer. They've given up the 3rd least amount of fantasy points to the tight end position. They've only given up 3 games this season above 40 yards. 1 to Travis Kelce, 1 to TJ Hawkinson, 1 to Dallas's Jake Ferguson. They have given up 2 tight end touchdowns in the past 3 weeks versus giving up 1 touchdown in the first 11 weeks to the tight end position. Do I think that's a trend? Absolutely not. One of the touchdowns was to Brevin Spann-Ford of Dallas. One was to Cole Kmet. So sometimes a end zone target. We've seen that from him in his career. But Gadsden isn't a part of that offense anymore. He's not a focal point like he was for 5 weeks. Give me Otton. I don't like that at all, but give me Otton. Let's also look. Let's see. Are there players that we could pick up from the waiver wire for you? I've got a couple leagues where Evan Ingram is in my waiver wires. He could be useful partially this week. Dawson Knox, no, not really. Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm since their bye week in week 10. Here's what he's done the past 3 weeks. 4, 6, and 6 receptions. So he's had 16 receptions, 24, 51, 23 receiving yards, which mathing. There we go. Hi, Kyle.
The first word I heard was mathing. So
Yes.
I like this already.
Okay.
I also love those glasses.
Thank you. They're pair eyewear. So I've got, yes. So I've got like a brown and black and orange one that I've got. That's kind of my school colors. I've got one that's got like a little splatter paint on it. That is like incognito gay pattern. And then I have a sunglasses one that actually is full on rainbow.
Oh, actually, protects your eyes.
Yes.
Those look cool.
Yes, thank you. And I'm wearing.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm glad you're not wearing, like, as much as like school pride is important, but your school colors resemble the Bears colors, and since the Packers are playing the Bears, probably best to not wear those.
Well, it's orange and black. It's very different. It's not. There's yeah.
Because they got the orange, but it's like navy blue and orange. So yeah,
Mhm.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You do you.
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. But if I have this
gray in this beard, yeah.
Oh, I've got gray in it too. So I just got it trimmed down a lot because the gray was really showing right about here. I have different hairs that I point at, and I look at a student. I'm like, this one's from you. This one's from you. And let them know. They're normally, yep. You have caused this. My first gray hair came in when I was, 25, like a prominent one. And the kid was like, Mr. You got a gray hair. And I was like, David, this is your fault. David, my therapist knows you by name. But if I have this problem, Ottner Gadsden, I'm going and picking up Gunnar Helm. That's really where I'm looking. Or I'm looking possibly Colby Parkinson because he has been getting.
I like that more.
Yeah. He's been getting involved more.
In all three of my RSO leagues this week, I went and I put bids in for Colby Parkinson, and I think I'm going to start him in all three. So, yeah, I like that idea more. Between those two, I do like Gadsden more. I just, now that guys are coming back healthy, Godwin looked better, like as good as he's looked all season. I feel like now is when we see Kate Otten phased out. So, I just play Gadsden in spite of the fact that Justin Herbert's not 100%. Yeah. How are you doing, Topher?
I'm not doing too bad. I've been rocking this solo so far, but Jamie has been piping in all the comments, which has been great. And hello.
Oh, you used the armchair intro. That's a great intro. I love the decision. Great job.
Thank you. I watched half of it and I was like, oh, I've seen this before. Didn't watch all the way through for the preview because I was like, oh, I've seen this video. This is great. And then it said armchair at the very end. And I was like, okay. So
there are armchairs on the chair I'm sitting on.
Dynasty option. So no waiver options? What?
I mean, basically in the sense that like dynasty rosters are so full that waivers are typically barren. Like all the good waiver wire ads are already on people's rosters.
Oh, yeah.
Now, like the FPC Dynasty League, for instance, I do make that intentionally a smaller bench than normal. I think it's basically it's start 10. I think there's only 10 bench spots. Like, I think maybe it's 12. Like it's just over double what the bench is, as opposed to like sometimes you see triple. Like there'll be like 30 roster spots to only 10 starters. It's
correct. So it depends on the league you're in. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I quite literally just thought about Gunnar Helm and Parkinson, and so I'm examining some of my leagues right now and seeing some of my dynasty leagues, they're gone, but some of them they are not. So might as well, run with that. Like go get those guys while you can.
Did you have any tough questions that you had a hard time answering that you want some extra input?
I don't think so. I think all of them. Okay, so here is one. This is for my buddy Chad. We're in a dynasty league, like our main dynasty league together. He's been kind of a up and comer this year. None of us really saw him fighting for a first round bye, and here we are. So this is what he asked. I said Hampton.
We had something similar on Fantasy Six Pack this morning, like Hampton versus Zonovan Knight, even, but it's the same principle of like Carter and Zonovan Knight are splitting. Hampton might be splitting with Vidal, so if you take all those four, I think Hampton has the most upside. He's got the most talent. He would be the one in a split committee like that I'd want to select. Because he's been injured for so long, you figure if they're going to him and be able to trust, even if it's, again, not 100% of the snaps, enough of the snaps that he'll be effective, like kind of like how Bucky Irving looked last week after his long absence. So
yes, I like that.
I agree with you. I'd go Hampton. He has the upside, I think. There's a bit there's lack of safety because we just don't know what the split's like, but I certainly think the upside belongs with Hampton.
Yes.
And Carter plays the Rams. That's a tough defense. And
yes,
I think from a rushing standpoint, that's actually that's a better defense than the Eagles' run defense. So like Hampton has the better matchup in theory.
Yeah, and that's
And it's
something
just
that
like who gets more work, Hampton or Vidal? If you're looking at those two, I think it probably will be Hampton, in spite of how good Vidal has looked. To be fair,
yeah.
so, yeah, I agree.
That's
yeah, you're right. I wasn't needed. Okay, bye. No,
that is not true. I'm trying to think. On this one, I said Addison because he's had literally like 20 more targets than Tillman over the past 4 weeks. Like it's neither
I
of
know
them.
it's bad with JJ McCarthy, but like
It's
the quarterback situation is still probably worse in Cleveland. Like Shador really hasn't been that great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
And then we do have another question that I like more for both of us. Bears or Packers today? Easy Packers.
Go Pack, go.
We're both Packers fans, but I also think in reality, I think the Packers are the better team.
Yes. The odds makers picked them like they're favored, and sure they're at home, but like I thought it was when the lines opened, I thought it was like 6.5 they were favored by. So
wow.
They're viewing like the initial lines dropped. The odds makers kind of said, the Packers should be not just like the home favored 3, but we're doubling that even. I don't know if the line's gone down. It's still 6. I'm still seeing 6.5.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's not just us. The odds makers say Packers are favored. So
yeah, and I don't know. I'm not going to be like shocked if the Bears win. I'd be disappointed, but it wouldn't not be a shocker to me.
I mean, they've been a great team this year. So yeah,
they have.
They've earned the right for us to not be surprised when they win.
Yeah.
In spite of, we'll be disappointed nonetheless.
So yes, the Bears are consistently winning by 1 score, and that is, I agree with that. They are consistently pulling games out at the end out of their asses. But let's look at some of these games. Here are people that they've barely beaten. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders 25-24. Same score against the Jaden Daniels-less Washington Commanders.
That might have been a Jaden game, actually. That would have been a few games he played, but
let me look.
He hasn't been 100% healthy at any point this year.
Okay, Daniels did play that game. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. They lost to I'm just double checking, but I'm pretty sure so lost to a Lamar-less
Tyler Huntley. That's right. Just before Lamar came back.
And all of those defensive players were out. Cincinnati, they beat them 47-42 in the last second thing. They beat the Flacco, Giants.
Right?
What?
Was that Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco, yes. In that crazy shootout, 47-42. They beat the Giants 24-20. They beat the Vikings 19-17. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Let's not forget, they lost to the Vikings in JJ McCarthy's first ever career start.
Yes.
So the Bears themselves have also been inconsistent to a certain extent.
Well, they lost their first 2 games, and they've been 9-1 since then. Then they did play very well against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. I will absolutely give them that. But they've been in a lot of tight games against losing teams. And
the Eagles themselves, they haven't been of late. They haven't looked the same. So
correct, but I'm still going to say that was a very strong, impressive win.
It was a team that beat the Packers.
Yeah, they did beat the Packers. Now I'm looking at the Packers wins. They are, they've won by 14.
They beat a third string quarterback with the Giants. So they haven't always won. But that also wasn't like a 1-score game, like close at the end. Like they showed they were the better team. So
yeah, and there are some games where it gets like the ending score does not show you the dominance of the entire game. I like Green Bay too. Good, proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Love or Daniels need a ceiling game and worried about how much Jaden Daniels runs versus a low-scoring matchup.
Well, this is Raul, one of our co-hosts on Dynasty Six Pack.
There we go.
And I really like Jordan Love from a ceiling standpoint against the Bears this week. The goal line guide really likes it. They have the second highest goal line grade for their passing attack. The Packers do, so especially inside the 5, as they showed last week against the Lions. Jordan Love is not afraid to be really pass heavy, and Matt LaFleur isn't afraid to call it pass heavy game script if it calls for that. I think it will this week. So I think I like good touchdown upside for Love this week, in spite of like to point like how much Daniels runs, and is it a low scoring game against the Vikings? Like the higher scoring shootout game against the Bears does seem like the appealing ceiling matchup. Where if you really need upside, I would definitely play Jordan Love. I think.
Yeah, and
I'm a Packers fan who loves Jaden Daniels more than I love Jordan Love, by far, easily.
Yeah,
I would, if I would in a heartbeat make that straight up trade at any given point.
Oh,
Washington would never do that.
yeah, exactly.
So that's me admitting that like the bias is there on both sides. My favorite team or my favorite player. Fantasy points say the numbers say Jordan Love.
Yeah, Minnesota gives up the seventh fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position. They actually, over their past 4 weeks, this is crazy, have limited the following quarterbacks to under 200 yards of passing: Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, and Sam Darnold. So it's not just, Dylan Gabriel and Aaron Rodgers.
And Jaden I've always found are two of the best comparables. They play the game in such a similar way. So
yeah. Yes. So Minnesota gives up the 7th most. While Chicago gives up the 8th most fantasy points to the quarterback position.
The opposite end of the spectrum, yeah.
Yes. So, and I think also teams know how bad Minnesota is and that they can just run the ball. And I don't think that they're going to have to feel like Jaden Daniels has to run after his injury.
We of course think the Vikings suck, but that could be biased.
I mean, there have been some historically bad play from their quarterback position, but I'm saying like their defense is pretty darn good. They shut down JSN. Like
strong part of the team, yeah.
Yeah, it's the reason why they have 4 wins in my opinion. But they have
they played the Bears. Let's
Sorry. They played the Bears twice and
gotta knock them down before this big divisional game.
Yes.
Game of the year really for both teams. Actually, it's funny that the situation's happening twice today where division like the AFC South and the NFC North, they're on the line today. Those teams will play each other once again. So there is some decision right now who's in front right now. There's also a game for later. So it's very interesting dynamics.
And I'll be at that game in Chicago. So my dad is a Bears fan, and he got on the season ticket list in the 90s, and he finally got them like 3 years ago. So
well, I understand that's far less of a wait than if you went on the Packers season ticket rating list.
Yeah. It's I was not born into that, so I will not be receiving any Packers.
I'm not even going to attempt to try. Yeah,
no. I'm still waiting to go to a game at Lambeau. I need to.
I've never have either.
I went there on a tour
in person.
So. Really? Well, you live in a different country, so
I've been to several CFL games. Even I've been to 2 just this year. So.
Yeah. I used to live right outside of Kansas City, so I've gone to a few Chiefs games. I've seen the Packers and the Chiefs play twice in Arrowhead. So
Jordan Love.
One was Aaron Rodgers, one was Jordan Love.
Was it Jordan Love's first ever career start?
I think so.
Okay, that game was good. That actually, because you go into that game, you expect, oh my God, this Chiefs defense, like they're going to crush him. And I thought it was like 17-13. Like the defense played incredibly well, but Love also
played
kept the offense moving enough that they didn't implode. They're not giving Mahomes easy like fields with bad turnovers. It was, man, Love handled the blitz pretty well against Spagnuolo. That was there could be hope. Maybe this wasn't a bad decision.
Exactly. Darren Waller or Colston Loveland?
Well, it's funny because I forgot Jamie wasn't going to be on because I was totally going to talk about the fact that my 2 most recent trades have come with my 2 co-hosts in the
That's
same
true.
league. Actually,
we did it. I liked our trade that we did.
I like my trade with Jamie for Darren Waller. I gave up a 3rd. I mean, I'm starting him this week too. So I would play Waller over Lovely this week, in spite of the fact that the Packers. It's funny because you think of the Packers, like they've got pretty good linebackers, good safeties. You think they'd be really good defending the tight end. That does seem the one position where they've actually been allowing production. Well, with everything split between Loveland and Kmet, I think I'd rather just invest in Waller. I think he's got good touchdown upside.
I'm also going to tell you this, that the Packers have given up the 12th fewest fantasy points to the tight end position.
That's gone down quite a lot.
And since week 8, they've given up their highest Here's what they've given up yardage wise to the tight end since week 8: 0, 5, 43, 36, 19, 4.
Okay, the 0, you throw that out because it's Max Brosmer. Sorry.
No. That was Connor Hayward. That was Pittsburgh.
He's the 4th tight end there.
Yeah, but they didn't listen. They don't list any of the other tight ends.
That's so. You're on Yahoo.
I don't know why. Yes, I am.
I do like Yahoo for a lot of things, but that does annoy me. Is sometimes in the players they like, why are you choosing Connor Hayward? There's 3 other tight ends that are going to be getting catches, but whatever. Regardless, I like Waller better. I think better upside in this match.
I agree. Okay, and I'm going to go against Jacobs too, and I feel like banking on Love's TDB is defense against Jacobs. It could be because Jacobs doesn't really catch a lot of receiving touchdowns, so that balance could really work.
Now, if you don't play Love and he scores a bunch of touchdowns anyway, you're fine because you're still stealing the touchdowns from Jacobs. You wouldn't get them in your lineup.
Yeah.
If Jaden Daniels as well, if that could be fine too. But I think it's just I'm looking at who do I think will score the most points, and I think Love will outscore Daniels this week. So I'm just going to go with what I think. We missed one question by Jamie a little bit ago. Definitely don't want to disrespect the co-host.
Oh, yeah.
Herbert in Superflex, or do you go with a non-quarterback in the Superflex and T. Higgins?
Oh, I'm going Herbert. I think he's going to play.
I think they've confirmed that he's going to play. Like in spite of him being like clearly not 100%. I think they've.
Yeah.
I guess not. I guess he is still listed as questionable.
Could face difficulties on Monday night.
I think that is the one thing. Like, is there any way you can pick up a Monday night player and just stash them on the bench?
Can you pick up Trey Lance?
Yes.
I mean, that's
you're right. Yes,
that's kind of the best plan.
Yes, that is it. I was thinking like, do you pick up a Jahan Dotson and throw them in, or like someone's dropped Keenan Allen if it's shallow enough, like someone like that. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you can pick up Trey Lance, I think you're ideally going to do that. I suppose if you can't get Trey Lance and you're really afraid of taking the 0, then it could make sense to just play Higgins. But try and get Trey Lance. Perfect. I love that, Topher. That's a great idea.
But I'm looking right here. I'm scouring ecstasy. Not ecstasy.
No, I was because that almost sounded like something else.
It did sound like ecstasy.
Now, scouring ecstasy, I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know that
I'm scouring for. Got any more of that? Yeah, so right here I'm looking, a lot of things are saying
the team has been saying all week they expect him to play in spite of the fact that he just had surgery. So
established a run says that they expect, like their post says that they expected to play Justin Herbert, not expected to play other people. So I think like it's Parker Washington, Xavier Wheeler, and Tristan Wirfs. Besides
guys that were out. That were all ruled out. So.
Yeah, expected to play Kincaid, Reed, Hampton, Herbert, and Olave.
Like you said, I like your take on go pick up Trey Lance just in case.
Yes. And last question: Kincaid or Gadsden? Kincaid.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, he's coming back, questionable. Obviously, like it was a true game time decision. He's playing. He's in.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I think I would go with Kincaid with him being active. Gadsden does scare me a little bit against the Eagles. They're one of the you look back to fantasy points against tight ends. I'm pretty sure the Eagles are down there among some of the fewest. So it's a bad matchup tight end.
Let's see.
This non-PPR league. Which two?
Okay. Also, trying to think. I know I saw this somewhere on Twitter. I can't remember who said it, but Cincinnati. If you chose the tight end that faces Cincinnati every week, they would
it's the best matchup. Yeah.
They would be the tight end against Cincinnati would be tight end 7 on the season right now. So Dalton Kincaid, absolutely, because we've talked about Gadsden before, not overly into it. Ray Gamer, thank you for throwing this at the last second so we can get to it. Non-PPR league. Which 2 wide receivers would you start? Jefferson, Ibuka, Sutton, or BTJ? God, going into the season, that lineup looked good. That lineup looked real good. And right now it does not. Sorry. I'm going Cortland Sutton first and foremost. They're playing Las Vegas. He had a better week last week. And
on PPR, you just hope for the touchdowns, right?
Yep, you just hope for the touchdowns.
Especially long touchdowns. He seems like he can break.
Yes.
I agreed. I like playing Sutton. Yeah.
And I'm probably going to go Egbuka. I don't trust Jefferson, not because of who he is, but because of the quarterback situation. And I don't trust BTJ. I actually traded him away in my Dynasty League, and he helped me win a fantasy championship last year. I traded for him last year. I ended up getting George Pickens in my trade, so I'll take that. But like had to give up BTJ and some other stuff because I'm just not excited about him. What do you think?
I was going to say Buka and Sutton as well. So we are in agreement there. Again, the touchdown upside against the Raiders, chance at long catches. Definitely feel like you could say the same thing about Egbuka over Jefferson. Like Igbuka's got the better chance to catch a touchdown, a long touchdown from Baker than Jefferson is from JJ McCarthy.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Yep.
I definitely don't want to play BT. Like to me, like the other three are in the top 20 in my rankings. Brian Thomas Jr. is outside the top 30. So he's almost like I know Jefferson was bad last week, but it's not Brosmer this week. It won't be as bad as it was last week. Okay, like a undrafted rookie in his first start, that actually is worse than JJ McCarthy. We proved that. So the fact that it's McCarthy coming back, I'd be willing to put Jefferson back again in the back end of the top 20, but Brian Thomas Jr. has not shown us anything this year.
No.
Good move trading him away.
Well, thank you.
Good trade moves.
Yeah, it was a little heavy of a trade. It wasn't my favorite trade to make, but I did get George Pickens. And I was trying to be smart and get him right before the what's it called? The Sunday night game and the Thursday night game. And that didn't go well. Yeah, that didn't go well, but that's okay. I am already in the playoffs in that league. So I
think you'd rather be starting Pickens than Brian Thomas Jr. the rest of the year. So that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You've been busy on the trade market this week.
A little bit, yeah. People have just been sending me things, though. I have not been looking for them. It just happens. And
I have Burrow. As much as Daniels, like the upside, there is still enough of the risk of him coming back. I'm not really sure. I think I'd like Joe Burrow in this match against the potential shootout. I know it's expected to be snow, but
let's see. Burrow. I don't trust Lamar right now. Jaden Daniels, they're going to take it slow. Joe Burrow, absolutely.
Clearly, Lamar is hurt. So, Daniels and Lamar will both be injured playing. Mm-hmm. And up to this point, Daniels has shown he's got the floor. He hasn't scored less than, I think it's 17.5 fantasy points in any game this year. So even the games he gets hurt and leaves early, it's not usually early. It's whenever he's been getting hurt and leaving, it's usually in the second. It's always been in the second half, which is why. Yeah. But Lamar, the floor is just falling out completely. So I definitely don't play Lamar. If you've got any, I'm playing Tyrod Taylor ahead of Lamar.
Oh yeah, I
for Daniels and Burrow for sure. I think between those two. Again, I'm leaning Burrow. I just like this shootout environment against the Bills. Whereas I think Daniels they'll crush the Vikings, but again, bias Packers.
Yeah, I agree. I think Daniels could. He could. I think the safest option is Burrow. I think if you want to risk a high upside play, you go Jaden Daniels. That's my thought. Also, that's a wicked QB room. Good work. Two Packers.
Well, and maybe that's guys getting hurt and getting dropped, right? Just being aggressive and picking up these value quarterbacks and you're falling, and eventually you can put things together. And the reason you feel like eating fudge, Jamie, is because fudge is really good.
It really is. Yeah.
Good places to make it. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I love dessert though. So
I think that you're just jealous because
I'm putting Andre Bacelia in the rankings.
Andre Bocelli? He's a blind opera singer. I don't know
Andre Bacelia. Apparently he's one of the Cardinals wide receivers.
Oh.
With Dortch and Harrison out. So I'm just doing the last few rankings and trying to get to 105 wide receivers. Just because Roman Wilson's out, Devontae Walker. So a couple names I had to replace, and Andre Bacelia.
Andre Bocelli coming back.
I see.
He does not actually.
No, but we can because of glasses. Thank you, glasses.
Yes, that's true. Okay, thank you so much for being here, everyone. make sure you catch us next week and continue to ask us your questions. Anything that we can do to help besides pay off student loans, please let us know. Okay, do you got anything else for us?
Go Pack, go! Biggest game of the year so far. I mean, win today, they're in front of the division. So
yes, and love me a good tenor. There we go. That's what we're talking about. Nothing tops Pavarotti, but I'm a choral director by trade, and I know me some good tenors and stuff. Okay,
they really like Matthew Bellamy, but obviously his guitar and piano, and he's in Muse. So
yes, he's very talented. Okay, QBs drafted Daniels, traded for Lamar, and I got Burrow from waivers. Yep, that's very smart. Okay, and then good shit, guys. Thank you. And I'm gonna end with Jamie's line because he's not here. Hey, go out and win this Sunday, because guess what?